Right. Hey, everyone. So, as we've been talking a lot about how we assess these elements about our industry, how we evaluate this external environment idea, we've talked a lot about a lot of things that essentially touch on what the reality in the industry is and, what is driving change, what things are important within the industry, what determines where we're sitting competitively on that map. Well, as we assess all of these things, these give us great insight, essentially into something that we really need to take a high level of attention to, and that is what kind of things within our industry are most significantly connected to people's ability to compete. And essentially, what we when we try to determine this idea of what those elements are, this is what we call something called a key success factor, a KSF, right? So you might also heard this if you took entrepreneurship or something like that from me in the past. You heard me maybe talk about these things that are called CSFs, critical success factors. Well, think about it either way, whichever you want. Key success factor, critical success factors, either way, what we are talking about is these competitive factors that we can identify that are most significantly linked to people doing well in an industry, right? These are the things that unwaveringly we need to have be present with our organization in order to be successful, or sometimes they're things that we have to avoid at all costs in order to be successful. So these are called key success factors, as we'll talk about them here today. And KSFs can be lots of things, right? If we're just trying to determine which things are highly correlated with success and are commonly amongst the people who succeed in an industry, they can be some strategic element. They could be the attributes of a specific product or service that we offer. They could be access to certain resources. They could be capabilities that we need to have. They may be market achievements that greatly impact our firm's future competitive successes, any of these kinds of things. These key success factors are so important to a firm's competitive success, because in order to be a winner, our firm's strategy has to compare favorably with all of our rivals in the industry along the lines of these KSFs. These are what it takes. These are the things this is the thing or things you need in order to be a success. No ifs, ands, or buts about it in an industry. And so we need to make sure that once we identify what these key factors are, these things that lead to success within our industry that are non-negotiable, we have to work on being competitively superior along one of these lines, if not more, in comparison to our rivals. So once we know what these keys to success are, these things that industries who succeed with, or organizations who succeed in our industry, they've got to have these things. Once we figured out what that special thing is, we got to make sure we do it better than others. We have to be competitively superior along at least one of those KSFs, if not multiple, if we can help it. So in order to identify what those KSFs are, right? I mean, like it's all fine and dandy if we just have somebody spell it out for us and tell us, but that's usually not the case. That's for us to figure out. That's part of this entire strategy process and experience. The way we identify our KSFs is we do a lot of research into our industry, and we look at our competitors and we say, what is it really that makes somebody choose to buy one organization's product or service over another? Like, what's the big deciding characteristic? What impacts consumer behavior and decision making so strongly that we can figure out this is the attribute, the characteristic, some element about it that is really significantly tied to the consumer behavior, the decision making that our consumers have, right? What attributes of our product or service are most crucial? What do we have to do well, right? What does our product or service have to offer? And not just have to offer, but what does it need to offer in a competitively superior way to our rivals, right? So we can look around at things like that. We can say, what kind of resources or capabilities do we have to have, no questions about it, in order to be competitively successful? Or what kind of shortcomings definitely lead to people being a failure in our organizations. So we can look not just the successes, but the failures and try to say, why'd somebody fail? Or why is somebody so competitively strong in this industry? What do they do well all the time? Or what did they not do so well? And we have to understand that those are likely going to be key success factors, things that are critically tied to our success in the industry. A fruitful competitive strategy approach is basically to use our industry's KSFs as cornerstones for our strategy, right? When we understand what is most important to success in an industry, we have to use those kinds of things as the foundation of determining what our firm's strategy should be in order to try to gain some sustainable competitive advantage by, again, excelling in that area, if not multiple of those areas within our industry. If we can do that, that will lead to us aligning our strategy with these critical financial and strategic goals that we've set in the organization, and hopefully will set us up to be, a definite success in our industry.